Hey everyone, I'm BigHugeNerd. Welcome back to one of my Big Huge tip videos. Today we're going to talk about a kitchen. So we're just going to do a super basic kitchen build where you have a kitchen with a stove, a stockpile with a butcher's table, and a dining room because the colonists, they hate eating without a table. So that's just the super basic stuff, assuming you have a food source and colonists. The kitchen doesn't really need to be that large. Let's just say it needs to be 6 by 7. Let's just say it needs to be 6 by 7. It doesn't really matter as long as you can fit an electric stove or a fuel stove, if you will, in there. I would also suggest that you build flooring in the kitchen. This is a fairly large kitchen. If you want to have the opportunity to expand your food production, make sure that you leave some room to put down some more stoves every once in a while. Having 2 or 3 stoves, that'll last you a very long time. Let's just remove those. And you will put down a door because you need to access the room. And it's just wall to wall with the kitchen. I suggest that you build a stockpile. The stockpile, you just decide whatever you want, how the size of it. I also suggest that you autosave, apparently. That you build an airlock. Let's make it a little more efficient here, like so, because you wanna put in a cooler in here, so that you can actually freeze the food, so it lasts forever, basically. And then you'll put down a stockpile zone in here, and you will go to settings, clear all, don't allow rotten, because who wants to store rotten food? You're not gonna eat it anyway, unless you're insane. Just allow all the food, or, you know, check everything that you wanna check. But just do all the food if you're not a super brain man. Put down the butcher's table, put it in the stockpile. Don't put it in the kitchen. The table in itself has a -15 cleanliness rating, which is awful. Putting it in the kitchen will make the kitchen filthy. A filthy kitchen leads to food poisoning. Food poisoning leads to very, very slow colonists. Let's also add a door to the outside. In here, you have all you need to make food, except for the resources, of course. But this is just a kitchen. What resource you build the walls out of doesn't really matter, although I suggest that you make them out of a rock, a stone, sandstone, marble, whatever you have a lot of. Wood is really not a super sustainable resource unless you have a giant forest you live in, of course. You do what you want to do, but wood, it burns really easily. So let's say a lightning strikes here and everything just burns. Then you're in trouble. So make it out of stone. But assuming that this is the very first kitchen you build, you can upgrade it later. For now, shapes and sizes is all that matters, really. Put down a door because here you want to build a dining room. The size here is really up to you, but assuming you have 4 colonists, you want a table that can fit 4 colonists. Really. Everything else the size of the room is for is really just for the decency of the room, giving them a mood boost, really. Also, you know, you can upgrade it later. In the beginning, all you need is a table, really. If you have 4 people, you don't really need a table for 4 people either. This is all up to you. If you have a lot of wood, build a big table. If you're not running low on time, build a big table. It just allows for future thinking. This is all you need to make food and eat food. But let's assume that you also want to produce food. Let's also assume that you want power to actually freeze the freezer. Let's just build one wind turbine, yeah? One wind turbine. You see the white rectangles here? In this area, you don't want trees because, as you can see, it's blocked by an oak tree. It's blocked by several, actually, a poplar tree and an oak tree. So you want to remove those, but you can't just, you know, plop down a growing zone. on either side here. And let's just put up some rice plants. They grow the fastest out of all the vanilla regular plants. And our trusty Young, the chef here, he will remove the trees, plant down the plants that is necessary, and they will grow. I suggest that you also build at least one battery. Doesn't really matter. It's way easier in the beginning to just plop down a battery so you can store some of the power that is not used. You don't have to leave a space between the growing zone and the structure. I just like how it looks. That's really all. I suggest that you keep one tile between the batteries. Having 4 is a bit overkill in the beginning, but let's just do this because it looks nicer in my brain. And this needs absolutely crucial that the battery room is walled and roofed. That is crucial because they can explode if exposed to rain or fire. That is a problem. That is a problem. I also absolutely suggest that no matter what, do not build the battery room out of wood. If it does explode, it will burn, and it will burn everything in its path. Let's just put down the necessary power conduits to charge up the stove and the cooler that is set to. Doesn't really matter what it's set to, as long as it's below 0 degrees Celsius or whatever it's freezing in Fahrenheit. But I suggest you put it a little lower so that you have the ability to walk in and out of the rooms without it going above freezing. Here we have a very simple food production line with a kitchen, a stockpile with a butcher's table, a dining room, and all you need really. You can pretty this up. You can also do super caveman style really. Have everything out of fuel stove, out of wood, a tiny dining room. Doesn't really matter as long as you have a place to make the food. And you can go a little nicer, pretty it up a little bit. Do something like this. The better the flooring here, it makes the colonies move faster than regular soil. As you can see, walk speed 87 and walk speed 100%. Not a huge difference, but it's a difference. I also suggest, if it's a really warm colony, double wall your freezer. It will lead to less leakage of cold, of the temperature. But it's not super important, at least not in the beginning. And that's really all you need. This is really all you need for a kitchen and food production. This will last you a while until you get your colony set up a little bit more. This will last you a long time. I'm the BigHugeNerd. I hope you learned something. I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.